Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Worship Drumming. This is a channel to learn some of the most popular worship songs on the drums, and in today's video we're going to be doing Forever by Kari Jobe. Easter's in about a month or so I figured this would be an appropriate song. The first time that I ever heard this song was around Easter time because we had to play it. I'm going to go ahead and raise the camera and we'll get into this tutorial. This song really isn't too hard to play. We sort of got some weird things going on that's not very common in songs. But let's go ahead and get into it. Starting with the intro, the drums are not going to play through that first verse. And then there's that break in the music where the drums come in and we kind of have a weird, interesting thing that we're doing. And I have my acoustic electronic snare drum over here that I'm going to use. It's easier to play on this. First verse is going to go by and then we're going to play an instrumental, and our instrumental will actually carry into, I guess if you want to call it, the second half of the first verse or the second verse. So I'm going to show you what it is. So it's going to be 16th notes on sort of the side of our snare drum. And the reason it's off to the side is because we don't want these to be loud, poppy hits. It's kind of going to be like sort of a washy snare drum. I know that sounds weird because usually you talk about washy cymbals, but it's kind of going to be like a washy cymbal, a washy snare drum, I mean. Our right hand is going to play 16th notes. And now this is just the way I play it. You can do it different ways with however you want to play these 16th notes. I think it's easy to play with my right hand. So my right hand is going to play all the 16th notes, just 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Our left hand is going to play the 4, and it's going to accent the 4 and give it a nice pop to it. So it's going to be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4, and then our right hand will finish those notes out. And then our kick drum is just going to be within beat 1. Our kick drum is going to land on beat 1, and it's going to land on the of 1. So that will be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So that's pretty much the basic concept of it. Like I said, it's kind of weird to do. Take some tuning and adjusting with your snare drum if you're playing an acoustic snare. If you're doing an electronic snare, just do the best you can. I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the phone for you guys so you can hear how it's supposed to sound. Then we're going to get into the pre-chorus that has this nice big tom groove. To sort of introduce the toms, I'll show you a quick fill that I throw in before I teach you guys the pre-chorus. The fill that I like to do is instead of playing my snare drum with my left hand on 4, I'll play 4 with my right hand and I'll do 4, E, and Pre-chorus is going to be anchored around 4 on the floor. That's just our kick drum playing all the quarter notes. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to throw some accents in with our toms between these quarter notes. So on the of 1, we're going to play our high tom. 1, 2. Then on the and of 2, we're going to play our mid tom, or our high tom, excuse me, our high tom and our floor tom together. 1, 2, and. And then on 3, we're going to play the E in the and of 3 on the floor tom. Now it's important to make sure that you are spacing these notes correctly. When I first learned this, I found myself awkwardly spacing these notes. A lot of the times they're too close together. So it's going to be 1, 2, and 3, E, and. And then our 4 is going to be on our crash cymbal, our snare drum, and our kick drum. 1, 2, and 3, E, and 4. And then we start back over at beat 1, and we just keep looping that. Now there's 2 pre-choruses, and what I like to do during the second pre-chorus is it makes it just a little bit more complex. It's the same notes for everything. We're just going to move our left hand to a different drum for one of the notes. And I think it involves the drums a little bit more into the song and give it more of a powerful drive to it. All we're doing is on the E and the and of 3, our left hand is going to lead and play the E of 3 on the mid tom, and then the and of 3 is going to be played on our right hand on the floor tom. So the other one was 3E and. This one's going to be 3E and. All the other notes are still the same. So I'm going to go ahead, plug this up for you guys, and then we'll get into the build, and then we'll talk about the chorus and bridge. Now going from the pre-chorus into the chorus, we have a build that's going to be the same between both pre-choruses and choruses. So all we're going to do is we're going to start an eighth note build with our kick drum, snare drum, and ride cymbal. And they're all going to be played at the same time, and I think that that's going to happen 3 times. There should be 3 bars of going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then we're going to hit our crash cymbal when we start back over at 1. So it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and make this a crescendo. Gradually get louder with your hits as you go. And if you want your kick drum or your snare drum or your ride cymbal to stand out a little bit more as you're building it up, go ahead and put a little more velocity into those hits. And also, by the way, you want a nice washy ride cymbal here. We're not playing the bow or the bell here. The last time, it's going to be 16th notes. So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I'm going to play everything on the 16th notes. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. So now you're not going to play that entire beat of 4 with 16th notes. You're going to throw a fill in there, and what I like to do as my fill is I just play a flam on the snare drum on beat 4, and then I play the and on my rack tom and floor tom, and then I just crash on 1. It's 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4 and. Go ahead and throw in whatever fill you want there. Have fun, be creative with it. That's just the closest thing that I could come up with that's on the album, and plus it's easy for me to do. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this up for you guys. So after that build, we're going to go into the chorus, and the chorus is really simple. So you can keep your right hand on your ride cymbal if you want. I like to switch it over to my hi-hats, and I'm just going to be playing eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Your snare drum is going to fall on all of beats 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then your kick drum is landing on 1 and the and of 1. Then it's also landing on 3 and the and of 3. And so it's really not that complicated. That's all there is to this. And by the way, it's a nice open washy hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm going to go ahead and plug that up for you guys, and then we'll talk about the bridge. Now all that we have left to do is play the bridge. So now you might hear some versions where it goes 4 times around, or sometimes where it only goes 2 times around. I'm going to be teaching you guys how it's done whenever it goes 2 times around, but after I teach you this, I'll give you kind of some quick tips on how to do it whenever you do it 4 times around. So how you're going to do it when it's 2 times is the first time you're not going to play anything. So while it's just going through, you're just going to be laying off, you're not going to be playing anything. As it loops back around, you want to throw a little bit of a cymbal swell in there. And then all we're doing is playing a basic groove on our floor tom, snare drum, and kick drum. So it's just our right hand playing eighth notes on our floor tom. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Snare drum is playing 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then our kick drum is just playing 1 and 3. Sometimes I play it on the and of 3. So that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then on the last bar, once again, we're going into our 16th notes. So that's going to be our floor tom and our snare drum and our kick drum. You don't necessarily have to add the kick drum in here. A lot of times I do just play it between the floor tom and the snare drum. So we're going to build that up with 16th notes. And then he throws some really big 30-second note fill in there. I don't know what they're doing exactly, but just once again, be creative and come up with your own thing. What we do at my church is I just play 3 big hits on the and of 3, 4, and the and of 4. So it'd be like 1E and a, 2E and a, 3 and 4 and. And so that's all that I do whenever I play it. You can throw in whatever fill you want. Just after that, you're going back to the chorus, and then you're going to finish the song out. Now, if you're doing it 4 times around, lay off for the first 2. The third time, do what I showed you that I was doing here on the second, technically it'd be the second time around. But this would be your third time around. Just play that nice, simple groove. And then whenever you get to the 4th time around, start throwing in some more toms and make it more of an intricate tom groove. And then do that nice build there at the end. And then play your fill and then go back into the chorus. I'll go ahead and plug this up for you guys so you can see what it's supposed to sound like. Thank you so much everyone for watching this video. Please subscribe below if you're interested in more content like we saw in the video today. Also, leave a comment down below of a song you want me to do a drum tutorial of. Hit that thumbs up button if you learned something new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.